All right, guys, welcome back to another session of Mission Impact with Ty and Tracy. And in today's session, which is wrapping up your year, we're going to be talking about setting new goals. Okay. We talked about highlighting your impact and how that relates to year-end impact, not just regular impact that we're talking about all year. We talked about how data and that impact is going to help you to identify areas in your organization or your business that needs to be improved. And like Ty said, we all need improvement, all of us. And then today we're going to be talking about setting new goals and how setting new goals actually relates to highlighting your impact and identifying areas of improvement. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Tracy V. Allen. I'm the owner of TVA Consulting Group. I help social impact businesses to design, build, and fund their social impact, maximize their revenue while impacting their communities.
All right, I am Ty Boone, owner of Ty Boone Enterprises. I help nonprofit organizations move from startup and struggle to sustainability and success. And I help them set goals. This is so good. You can't have success without a goal, right? You can't.
Yeah.
What's the mark? What are you measuring? And we're talking about setting new goals today. So, what was your old goal, and how well did you work to meet that goal? Did you accomplish that goal? And if you didn't,
Right.
why? So this is gonna set the stage for what, because again, if you're gonna put forth the same effort and energy that you put in your old goal, or if you put forth the same effort and energy now, if you're gonna level up, we can increase the goal. If you've made some changes and you've gone back and you've identified areas of improvement and all this nice stuff that we talked about over the past couple of weeks, you may be able to up your goal, right? But if you are operating at the same capacity, the same energy, the same level of effort, then your goal may stay the same. At least if you want to meet the goal, it may stay the same. But if you want to increase your goal, you're going to have to increase your effort. You're going to have to increase the energy that you're using to meet these goals. But you're going to have to understand that whatever your goal is needs to be something that represents the capacity at which you or your organization is functioning. You're not going to be able to meet it if you're trying to do something that's above your capacity.
Right. Right. Setting new goals. When you're actually setting these new goals, you're going to utilize the impact that you created this year, right? So, did you create the impact that you wanted to create? Like Ty said, you have to look at it? Did you actually create the impact that you wanted to create? You got to look at the old goals. You said that you wanted to help 100 people this year. You may have created impact, but did you help 100 people, or did you help 75? Okay. And if you only help 75, why did you help 75 and not 100? Right. So when we're talking about identifying areas that needed to be improved in the last session, that is part of what you're looking at too, right? So that you can set this new goal. Maybe 75 was all you could have done with the staff that you had, with the resources that you had. So maybe you didn't plan effectively. You thought that you had the resources to help 100 people, but you only had the resources to help 75. And this is where you, your staff members, your board members, who, if you're, nonprofit or social enterprise, will need to sit down, and you will really need to take an analytical eye towards what your impact was for the year and the areas that you need to improve. When you're looking at the areas you need to improve, you need to figure out what went wrong. What didn't you do right that caused this area to be a gap in your business? And gaps hurt your business. So you need to figure out why this gap is there and how you're going to fill it. And that's where the new goal comes in. So we wanted to serve 100 people, but we only served 75 people. After taking a deep dive, an analytical eye to looking at why we only served 75 people, we realized we just didn't have enough staff to serve 25 people more. Or we didn't have enough money to buy the supplies or whatever it is to help the other 25 people. Okay, so our new goal is we need to raise $5,000 to help the other 25 people so we can meet the goal of serving 100 people per year. Okay, or our new goal is we need to put a line item budget, if we have the funds, to hire a new staff member to help those other 25 people. We need a new case manager, so we need a budget of another $55,000 to hire a new case manager so we can take on that other 25 people that we didn't help last year. So this year we can keep the same goal, but this year we want to meet the actual goal. Does that make, I hope that makes sense, right? So when you're looking at it, that's how you're looking at, creating your new goals, comparing it to your last year goals. And then if you met your goals, then you want to improve upon that. So we did meet our goal of helping 100 people. So that's hooray for us. Now this year we want to help 150 people. So that's great. That's one goal. But how are you going to meet that goal? So there are other goals that are going to need, or objectives that are need to be met under that new goal. Because if you were able to help 100 people last year, but you just barely helped that 100 people, everybody's like, oh my God, I'm so happy 2021 is if that's the case, then you can't give those people 50 more people to help. Your case managers can't handle another 50 people, right? So you may need to hire 1 or 2 more staff members. If your case managers can only handle 25 people per case manager, and you have a goal of 50 people, then you need to hire 2 staff members. So the next goal is, I got to look at the budget. Do we have the budget to hire 2 more staff members? And if we don't, how are we going to get the monies to handle those next 2 staff members? Another goal, right? So these are how you create these new sets of goals for the upcoming year.
Or what kind of barriers prevented you from reaching your goal? Right? COVID, right? If you were doing only outreach and that's what your program is about, and you had COVID ordinances, and we couldn't go out and reach, but prior to COVID, even if you had to go back, whatever that was, if your staff is still the same, your efforts are still the same, your energy is still the same, you reached this number of people, maybe from what you had last year may not represent what you can do next year, depending on what's going on in the environment and all that. So you want to take all that into consideration when you are setting your new goals. Like Tracy said, if you were able to meet your goals, even with, I worked with some funders when COVID first started. And we were funding programs, and then the funder came and said, you know what, COVID is here and we don't know what to do. So can you tell the grantees that they may use their grants for either programs or general operating dollars, right? Because we know that COVID is here and they may not, and a lot of these grantees were, really, really big on outreach, and they couldn't go out, but they still need to keep their staff, they still need to keep their facilities. So the funder says they can do this. So what happens to them this year, if they're trying to talk about their impact and how they made a difference and they're trying to set new goals, they may think about the fact that, hey, we were supposed to reach 3,000 people in outreach, but we couldn't because we were shut down. They told us we couldn't go over, we couldn't go this place, we couldn't do this thing because of COVID. But now that this stuff is lifting, we know that we can go back at least close enough to what would have been normal outreach for us next year. So we might want to set our new goal back to what it was prior to COVID, now that we've gotten some of these restrictions taken off.
Right. So, and that's basically it, because I think in this one, we kind of went into our next topic too, strategies. Yeah, developing a strategy. I kind of like went off on a tangent and kind of went into the strategy, but there's still more things that we can talk about. So if you
they all go together.
Right, they all go together. So if you come back next time, we'll kind of dive a little deeper into creating those strategies for the upcoming year. All right.